Instagram.
So the answer is don't reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel, no, in a tasteful way.
Myself and humble myself and said, who am I to say no to that?
Let me check myself and let them do the whole thing. But the planner is their touches. It's perfect down to the T.
Or DJs or MCs or photographers, do they... I love you.
That is the biggest mistake, and I, think on my clients listen to me and they switch gears. It has to be one production. It has.
Events now, we're learning about everything like hot off the press.
You also need to have very, very thick skin.
As well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So we are here with Lily and Valerie from Jolee Events here today. Thank you, ladies, for coming out.
Thanks for having us, guys.
First and foremost, they look fantastic. So I think they definitely play the part in aesthetics. So aesthetics are extremely important when it comes to designing an event, and I think you guys are playing the part really well.
Thank you.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
They say bring your best bag.
Yeah, I can tell. All right. So talk to us. So you guys have been partners for how long now?
Partners officially since, I would say, November?
Yeah, that's when our marriage
October.
started.
That's when the nuptials, began.
And what year? 2024?
2024.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was my son's bar mitzvah in September.
Okay.
And she already started the business, and I was going to do something very small for my son, like very small, like just do it myself and whatever. Anyway, so she's like, what do you mean do it yourself? I'm going to do it for you. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, you could do it for me. You're going to have to deal with my ex-husband, the whole thing.
Right.
I love dealing with him too.
Okay.
No problem.
She's like, what was the whole point of the story? Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, so she's like, after you see the work I've done, then you'll decide if you're going to be my business partner. And I was like, we'll see. Let's see the show you put on.
I put on a show.
She happened to have put on a magnificent bar mitzvah.
To
for
this
my son.
day, I get calls from the venue asking for my floor plan.
And I would say that was actually, if we had to say the most memorable moment of planning.
Yeah, it was shocking you.
Wow. So but prior to that, you've done this before though, Lily? Like you were doing this?
Yes, I was an assistant to an event planner, and we met through PTA and we started doing school events together. So I've always had that passion, but then it was just like the right time, right year, and I'm just gonna follow it. And
Do you have any kind of formal education, trainings, certifications?
Well, my aunt used to be a big wedding planner in the industry, and I have a few big time planners that were, mentoring, and I come from a community where all we do is party. Mm-hmm. So, you kind of understand people and what they want, and,
what works.
Yeah, and you just...
So
I know how to party.
Yeah, and I was doing special events for the school, like the school galas and auctions and every event. And I met Lily at one of our events, and I just saw a girl. I wanted to just bring her along with me for the ride. So she started joining me and doing all the events at school. And, then I retired from my position at school, and
What did you do at the school?
I was special events coordinator.
Oh, okay. So
there we go.
yeah.
Okay.
But pro bono, but we still, we still help out. Yeah.
Okay.
But we put on magnificent events for the school.
So then Val's son's bar mitzvah was the first event you planned yourself?
No. So I ended up doing, I don't know if you guys know this person, Fuck Jerry. I'm very friendly with his wife, gave me the chance. And when she gave me the chance, I'm like, you know what? That's when it hit me. I'm going to start my company. And I owe a huge thanks to this person. She believed in me and now went flying.
Got it. And Jolee Events, where does the name come from?
So my father's name was Joey. My grandfather's name was Leon.
There you go.
And my kids, I named after them. I named my daughter Jojo, and I named my son Leon. So...
There you go.
Bingo.
Jolee.
So then got it. So after the bar mitzvah planning, you guys decided to partner together.
It took a minute, but yeah.
What was the most fun you had planning her son's party? What did you find? Because I mean, you've done parties before, but
Dealing with her ex-husband was fun. No, it really was, because it really became.
I said she has a niche in working with divorced couples.
Like her son, like it felt like a family project, you know, and the son, her kids love that. Oh, mommy's good friend is really good friends with daddy now, and it really, you know.
That sounds really.
And we call, you know, we nickname me stepmom.
Right.
So, you know, it's great that we're able to say that and just be transparent about it, because we're living in a not perfect world, and we're living with modern families and stuff like that. So you're dealing with other divorced couples and whatnot.
My best friend and an ex-husband that I never met him before yet, you know, and I came in it, and she speaks high. She always spoke highly of him, but I didn't know the backstory. I just, you know, I'm going to go in it. A lot of love for him and a lot of love for her, and it was just wasn't taking sides. I understood
There's no
both
sides to be
points.
taken. I mean,
like with the decor.
Her goal and her objective was to plan a beautiful bar mitzvah for my son, and truth be told, she did.
But I think that, I mean, we experience this too, but people don't realize we kind of sometimes, especially with divorced families, but just any family dynamics, you kind of serve as therapists sometimes.
Yes.
When you're an event planner, if you're leading the charge at the event.
I have a bill owed to me, but yeah.
You need to understand the dynamics front and backwards, basically front and back, just understanding what their dynamic is, because you don't want to step on any toes.
Right. She used to have to call me and be like, Val, back off. Let me do my thing over here. You know, and like she worked us both. Like,
did she have to play mediator as well from
a little bit.
Okay.
From time to time.
It's necessary sometimes, right?
Sometimes it's necessary.
Sometimes we have divorced, just like you said, divorced parents that, for instance, they're completely civil. Everything is fine. They're friends. They're even friends with their new significant others.
Right.
And sometimes they cannot be in the same room together. They refuse to come out together.
I think we ended up working really well together, and I thought
At the
he
end
was
of the
very
day,
appreciative.
Yeah, he still is. And at the end of the day, it's
Everyone thought
really
we were getting back
for
together
the kids.
after that day.
I promise you, everyone came and they're like, "Oh my God, this is," and they felt the love. They felt like there was no anything, and it was. Job
My
well
son
done.
loves her.
My
son
stepkids.
loves her.
But that's right, your stepkids. Wait, but that's the reward that you get from this industry, that we all get from this industry, is at the end of the day, of course, you created an amazing party. But I think the most telling sign of how strong your relationship was with that family is when you're like, oh no, the event's over. What do we do next? Am I going to see you again? Like, I want to see you again.
It's very sad.
And it's not all families, right? Sometimes they're like, it's a bit more of like, you know, there's only so far your relationship can go, just because not everyone clicks.
Right.
But those few families that you really click with, that we all had, especially, it's like, wow, like this is over. I hope we can hang out again. Like, I feel like you definitely.
we
I
keep
guess
the
the hope is
relationships.
like hoping that, you know, their family member or another sibling or their cousin or someone else hires you, and then you get to deal with the whole family all over
We
again.
do have another son getting bar mitzvahed.
I have another bar mitzvah.
Got a
next
text.
year.
So what do you consider yourself? What's your title in the industry?
I would say lead planner, part owner. I got
Event planners.
Event planners.
Oh.
That's it.
That's
you
true.
are event planners.
Yes, we are event
yes,
planners.
yes.
What do you? I was
Go.
gonna say, just what's the main purpose of an event planner? Why do we need them to?
To coordinate the entire production from the beginning to the end, for the vision of the client, the budget of the client, the every, you know, and also like one size does not fit all. Like one entertainer that you love is not going to work for, you know, you have to look for the right.
Well,
vendors for
I
every-
explained it to her like this. It's like building an orchestra. You get the right people to build this masterpiece. And then you just, you know, you play it out, right? And what she always tells me is regarding clients, you walk in like a queen and you leave like a queen. And she says it,
For the client to walk in like a queen and leave like a queen.
you know, no problem. Whatever problem or anxiety you have, you take it on me. We blast the Celine Dion on, we relax, and we handle it. And
Take the punches.
you also you take the punches, and you get, you know, with the planning, you also get therapy. We give therapy, you know?
What do you think that, because anyone can call themselves an event planner. I mean, we get people all the time in this industry that's like, oh yeah, you know, I put events together, I plan events. What do you think makes a real credible event planner?
So I had this conversation with an event planner, and she has a nice name to herself. She said something, and she's kind of like a mentor, and she said something, you know, anyone could be an event planner. They can call the florist and say, okay, it's going to be blue.
Right.
And they don't even look at the flowers twice, you know. And then there are event planners where, you know, I'll be working with someone and I see that, like, and I can't overstep my toes, but the flower vendor, you know, showed her pictures of the centerpieces, and I said, she's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, but there's a grapefruit in the middle that doesn't belong there. Like,
right.
You know, no, it's fine. I'm like, okay, but if it was me, no. Like, it needs to be to my vision, to my mood board, and, you know, like I said, you could call the florist and say, I want it to be black and white theme, and let them do the whole thing. But the planner is their touches. It's perfect down to the T. And, you know, and there are event planners that, unfortunately, like, they're not as, they're great, but it's just like they're...
The details. And they're hiring the right people, but, you know, it's not their mood board.
Would you say a good event, because I feel that what you're alluding to is advocacy. You're advocating on behalf of your client sometimes, because in the grand scheme of things, they don't understand our industry, but you guys do. Mm-hmm. So as event planners too, if you're going to speak up to a vendor and say, no, it's not what this should be, it's really in defense of the client, correct?
Yes. You have to be really strong about it.
What got you guys, like, I know, like, you did the event and everything like that, but you've always wanted to do this before, right? Like, you guys have talked about this before and things like that, right? What has been the most difficult obstacle, a big obstacle that you've been facing as event planners specifically? And it could be two different ones. I'm just curious to hear, because people are watching this and like, oh, I want to get into event planning. What is the thing that, like, might deter people away from it?
Well, we are new, and we are building a reputation, and there are people in our community especially who will want the cream of the crop, the top of the top event planner, but that comes at a price. I mean... Explain
that part.
Like, can I mention event planners? Like,
nah.
You can, and then, you know, we can kind of determine a little bit later on.
Like, they want the reputation of, like, I hired Norma Cohen to do my event. Mm-hmm. But listen, we're not Norma Cohen. Maybe one day, God willing, we will be, but we're not. And I feel like some people in our community want an event planner with
a name.
More of a reputation. Yeah, more of a name. And we're building our brand right now. So...
It's listen,
that's a challenge that it's not a challenge. It's not... That's their problem, I suppose, because that's their
But they don't know that, you know, but in behind the scenes of all that, we gain knowledge, we go to panels, and we want to learn before we jump into anything and make mistakes. We're learning, we reach out to event planners, we, you know, and we do our research, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, now someone comes to us and, you know, but we have the knowledge, and we'll give you this price for our knowledge. And...
we're actually a little bit fresher because we're going to everything now. We're going to all these panels now.
Right.
We're going to all the event planning events now. We're learning about everything, like, hot off the press.
You also need to have very, very thick skin. You can't take anything personally, and business is business. And, you know, you have to really understand that. And... You have to be strong. There's a few times that she had to pick me up, and she's like, just, you know, like, just
get it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get it together. But there are times, and get the job done. Don't take it personally. And I have a few horror stories, you know, with a client. You know, just make sure the bridezilla is in the contract. You know.
Quick question for you, if you don't mind. Being an event planner, you need to make decisions. Last night I was on a panel, actually, right, on DJ Network TV. And the topic that I decided to come up with or to speak about was about making decisions, executive decisions, and taking into consideration your technical experience, your know-how, all the different things that encompass becoming an event planner or becoming a leader. Leaders need to make decisions. You need to make on-the-whim decisions based on what your client would do if that was them, you know. Do you find that you need to make more decisions on your own, or do you feel that your client delegates or says to you, these are the decisions I want done, make sure that they happen, enforce that?
Yes, we do it.
You do it? Do you make the decisions?
You have to walk in confident. Why did we get the advice, wear your best bag at these meetings? Because you have to.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
We had an event a couple months ago. It was a holiday party. It was a beautiful space. Unfortunately, they were at beyond capacity. So the building manager comes upstairs and he's about to shut down the party. I'm not bothering the host of
takes
the party.
us both to the side of the room.
Go to the side of the room.
And this is where
reams you out.
this is where our partnership
this is where you have to
fits
also
in.
you have to be able to sweet talk someone. You have to be able to put a smile on your face, honey them, and
I knew she was very good at that, and this is where our partnership shines.
That's where our
because,
partnership shines.
She's all of a sudden holding her drink.
I
all the time. She holds her. So they take us to the room, and he says, "We're going to shut this down.
We have to shut this down.
You're at
We need to
capacity.
be at capacity. You need to get rid of. You have to tell 50 people to leave."
So what does Val do? She gives me her drink immediately, and she took care of it. I sipped my drink, and she sweet talked him.
And then a couple of the other vendors were watching, and they're like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "Wow!" Like how you handled him, like.
And I'm like, "This is my partner."
Yeah, you got to be able to weave.
She was gloating. She's like, "That's my partner."
So what was the outcome? Were you able to bend the rules?
Yes.
You were able to
And the rules.
I schmoozed him. I did what I had to do. I flirted with him a bit. I mean, I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
Good.
You know?
The guy was 5 minutes away from giving you flowers.
Right. He was in love.
He was practically on his knees.
He was in love.
did what I had to do. He's on his knees. This is how some of my favorite websites start.
Yeah.
So bottom line is, the event was able to make it to the finish line, and
Without a hitch and without the host knowing anything.
So charisma, personality,
You
charm,
need your person.
schmoozing.
Yeah.
It was done. It was effective.
Yep.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Do you find that you have to kind of do that to a lot of people?
Go everywhere. You have to keep your game up.
Yeah.
To network even. And we did a panel with a few event planners the other day, and all 4 event planners on that panel had the personality. You talk to Norma Cohen, she just shines. She holds a room, and it's her. It's not because of her knowledge of the industry. It's the way, she's so personable. She's so happy, and I find, and in watching these successful panels, you see this. They have the same personality. It's very outgoing.
It's an it factor.
Yeah, it's the it factor.
Why would someone hire an event planner?
Why would someone hire?
So I am helping plan my wedding, and I'm like, okay, I'll just call a bunch of people, call a florist, call this.
We discussed this. I'll give you the friends and family rate for you. So this is you hire us, let's say, and you and your beautiful fiance. We handle everything. The flowers. You tell me what colors you want. If you want a band or a DJ, you don't even know your location yet. No problem. We'll give you a menu of locations. We'll give you the price right next to it.
We'll work with your budget, whatever your budget is.
She's very good with the budget, and there's a lot of planners that go over, and she's like
cap. Like if you
she'll even if I'm $1,000 over, I have to answer to her. She's like the husband in the relationship.
Yeah.
You keep the budget on a leash.
I tried to. Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, you always have to plan for.
Yes, but the missing point is we have a lot of great connections, and that's what we've been networking around, right? So you're going to go to me and you said, okay, I want these flowers, and I have a very special relationship with my florist. He'll charge me,
X amount of dollars.
Yes. And whereas you can go to another event planner or go yourself, and he's going to up it. And because of so that's what we do. We do a lot of special relationships, and they give us really good prices because, our vendors become like
along to our
yes,
clients,
and our vendors become like our family. And a lot of my vendors are, they want us to succeed. They're rooting for us, and they'll, and like I was on the phone with Gio the other day, and I was telling him, I have a party. It's not such not such a big budget. He goes, what are you talking? He gave me a higher number. I'm like, no, Gio, a little smaller, a little bit smaller. And he's like, I really believe in you. I'll work with you. I'll help you out. And, it's having those moments like that, where what if he didn't have a relationship with someone?
Right.
I'd be like, all right, I'll go fly a kite.
So
They're rooting for the underdog, and we are the underdog right now, and we know it. And I root for the underdog.
Okay.
I always root for the underdog.
Well,
I believe in the underdog.
You're the underdog, meaning that you specifically are the underdog, or the event planners?
Us as
Meaning
planners.
like
Because we're new and because we're
Neophytes.
fresh.
Got it.
Yeah.
Understood. Makes sense. So I wanted to ask one quick question
Go.
regarding, you mentioned pricing, for instance. I think what Patrick is also alluding to is the fact that, you can, he can just simply go out and reach out to these vendors and get pricing and so on and so forth. But you're getting a lower price, like a wholesale rate, perhaps. Are you then marking it up? Is that how you? What's the vehicle?
No.
So,
I don't even
or
know.
do you charge a standard fee or a flat fee?
No.
Or a tiered fee based on how much involvement you're going to have in planning an event?
Right now, we're charging a flat fee.
Okay.
And we pass along any savings to our client, and that's what we're doing right now.
you may know the answer to this, but I want to. But does that change? Some event planners like, no, I don't want a flat fee. I'm just going to basically upcharge on.
There are clients who there are event planners where I understand that they are taking a percentage of everything you spend on, including your dress. I mean, if your dress is $50,000, they're taking 10% of what you're spending on your dress. I mean, that's not us.
Okay, but is that okay? Is that considered acceptable?
It's acceptable if the client is okay
Arrangement
with it. I mean,
and
listen,
the contract.
It's the arrangement you make with the client. If the client, it's in the contract, that's the arrangement.
Is this divulged during the discovery phase? I mean, provided you have it.
course.
Gotcha.
You have to be,
As from my understanding, it is. Yeah.
Do you find that couples, families that are looking for event planners, they prefer one method over the other? Like, I'd rather just pay a flat fee, or they're like, or do they get skeptical of the whole?
It's basically like, I'm going to throw a number. Someone comes to us and says, I want to throw a $300,000 wedding event, whatever it is. So a lot of these fees are like, okay, 10% of whatever of your budget. So that's, I think, what she was, saying. For me, I honestly, I have a lot to prove. I think the flat rate, because I want to do amazing things, and I want my work to shine, and I want you guys to have, if it could come out of my pocket, it would. It will. It has. Where, because I want the best of the best. So the flat rate.
She wants to put out a great event at her own, even if it's at her own expense.
Exactly.
Why though? Like what does it do for you?
Because my work is shown. So now that extra $5,000 could get you a long way. So it's, like the couches, the chair rentals, right? I was on a budget for her bar mitzvah. I wanted these chair rentals, right? And it changes up the whole room. But, if I charged a certain amount, then within the budget, I can't fit those chairs. But I know it's going to...
Oh, you cut out one thing and you
I didn't want to. To me, it's a story. And, if you're telling me your budget is $50,000 and I'm charging 10, and I know you're under a tight budget, I'm going to charge you $75 so I could take that extra $3,500 and do something incredible.
But what's your why? Like, why did you get into event planning? Out of all the different industries and the different jobs and experiences in the world, like, what's your why?
Me?
She's my why.
You're kind of like,
that's good enough.
Along for the ride.
Her passion is infectious.
She's my why.
You're making art and you're bringing families together. I mean, that's a little cheesy, but
not cheesy.
I don't think it's cheesy at all.
I started event planning because I wanted to work for charities and fundraisers, but they have in-house, so it was really hard. And then that's how I really grew to love the whole event thing. But it's the happiness you see on people's faces, and then the negative is the angry side of it all. But
what is the angry side of it all?
Oh my God! It's one of my first events. She wanted an extravagant. No, she wanted a lot of people want bells and whistles, but don't want to pay
a bride,
for it.
A mom.
She was a mom
Okay.
of the bride. But
Okay.
a lot of people wants the bell. And it was a small thing. A lot of people want bells and whistles, but they can't pay for it. You know, so
They
you
want
know,
the Lamborghini, but they got a Prius
and I was
budget.
starting, you know, and
Champagne
a few lemons were thrown, and that's when I said, you know, there's no abusive in the contract, and we have to keep ourselves safe. And this is where your self-worth comes, and you have to say, no job is worth this shit. I don't know if that's gonna.
It's okay.
No, you can.
You know-
I've said shit many times on this podcast.
So no
Except
job
worse.
is worth it.
Shit's crazy.
But you know, and walk away. And what I do feel like is you really have to have confidence in this industry and walk around like no one's doing you any favors. You know, you're doing them the favor.
That I wasn't her partner yet. This was over the summer when she did this event, and she called me afterwards, and she had a day, but she had a crew there doing the whole event. Everything was all set up. Everything was done already. The flowers were there. And this mother was treating her like shit the entire time. She was just so nasty. And I said to her, like, what are you even doing this job for? For what? Like, they're treating you like you're a dog. Anyway, her kid was sick that day. She had to take her kid to the doctor. This girl would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning
And
to
I
make
had.
sure that everything was perfect. She had to. There's a balance of your family and your work, and
Yep.
she really did have it under control. But when she got there a little bit late, but her crew was there and they set up everything was done already, and they're like, "Oh, we don't need you." But the event was done.
Remember, you have my napkins, but I think there's
Everything was set up and everything was done. The food was there because it was a Saturday event. Anyway, I said to her, she was hysterical afterwards, hysterical crying. And I said to her, I said, listen, you want to be an event planner, right? I said, you want to be in this business? I said, you got to have thick skin. I said, you're going to cry like this. I said, over something like this. I said, you're done.
Wow.
you have lemons thrown at you. But anyways, my aunt said the same thing.
I said, you're done.
Do you have provisions in your agreement that, I guess, protects you against abuse?
So we're
Yeah.
actually in the process of making our agreement now and fine tuning it with.
And I also
to
don't want my
include-
vendors to be abused also. So
Yeah.
like I have to protect the people that, and also we learned that our vendors also come first. Like we have to take care of you guys, make sure you guys are paid. Like, because without you guys, events don't happen. And you have to come to say like, we're a team, not solo.
Makes sense.
You have a lawyer too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And what is that provision looking like in terms of abuse?
It's the bridezilla clause. It's a whole thing. It's
Yeah, we really call it a bridezilla clause. I
love
we
it.
had to. I
What-
wasn't having
It
another
protects
lemon thrown
abuse.
at me.
What do you get from that?
It protects abuse from both directions. I mean, if the client is abusing us, we have the right to pull out of the event
Got it.
with our
With what?
Deposit?
well,
Is that what you're
that's
saying?
And
already
more,
non-refundable.
hopefully. Yeah.
But with our work
Uh-huh.
as well, they can't use our work after that.
Got it.
Are you sure that's in the contract, the work
Yeah,
part?
we put that.
Oh, okay.
We're in the process. I'm in the process of making sure that happens.
Very
Yes.
good.
Better be
Excellent.
with that lawyer we're paying for.
Well, it just surprises me though. It surprises me how so mmany people in our industry do not have a contract, or at least
A lot
So
of them don't.
Yeah, so we're like just making our contract now. I mean, we had like a little contract that we've been giving people, but that didn't include the bridezilla clause and it didn't include the abuse clause and all that kind of stuff. But we do it to protect both the client and us.
We also included weather in our contract.
Yep.
We went so our contract is so long, and there's so many things to. It's crazy.
You need
so many
to.
details.
one of our things that I had to learn, but this is what you taught me, is like due to the nature of our business, right? That like bookings unfortunately are never promised. In terms of like if there's an act of God or weather
Yeah. Oh, yes.
or
Yeah,
a pandemic, right? And
The act of God-
Wait, is the
if that were to
pandemic
ever
on our
happen, let's just say,
Yes, of course.
you need to have that. And one of the things is like we expect money, because one client told me, they said, but Patrick, you haven't done the party yet. Why do we need to pay all beforehand? I said, well, due to the nature of our business, we only have 52 weekends a year
Right.
to make a living, to work. It's not like a Monday through Friday thing. It's a Saturday and Sunday and Friday.
Right.
And sometimes, Thursday, whatever. But we only have a few days to really maximize on the days we work. So that's how we operate.
Right.
And it's crazy sometimes how like And so just for people knowing that if that's what your DJ or your entertainment company or any event planner is doing, they're doing it because that should be an industry standard.
So we are learning, and I'm just curious to know, if you don't mind me asking you, do you take the full payment beforehand, or do you leave a little bit for after the event also?
All monies
Nothing
must be
after.
paid up front before the event starts.
How far
After
in
the
advance
event.
before?
Up to 30 days.
Yep, 30 days.
Ah, good to
We
know.
will not play. And here's the thing. I mean, listen, we're
Learning. Like, listen, we're not.
Well, our thing is nothing will happen if not all our vendors are paid beforehand.
correct. So that's what he's also taught me
protecting.
too. He said, you don't play a song until all payments have been made. You don't press play.
I know an event planner that didn't have a contract, and what happened was the person that had the wedding didn't pay the vendors. She was in court.
Oh.
She was in court for 3 years.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some cases can go on. Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, for years.
Who the event the client?
Didn't pay any of the
So the
vendors.
event planner ended up
They
having to
always
pay,
figure
right?
out ways to try and not pay.
Didn't the event planner end up having to pay?
No, that was the invitations. I'll look at that. No, she was just saying they were in court. I think I don't know.
So one of the things that it's important to understand is that if your heart is in the right place and you love what you do, which is your why, it sounds like, I'm still to kind of get your why, right?
I
Like
think I'm figuring it out too.
why you're doing this. But let me just finish my thought because I'm known to derail really quick. But when you know your heart is in the right place and you came to create solutions for your clients, because that's our why, to make people happy. We love watching people enjoying a sea of people on the dance floor, jumping and crazy and just happy.
Yeah.
That's what our why is. That's just what we're built of.
See the smile on their
Correct.
face.
See the smile on their faces and have them come to us at the end of the night and selfishly like, you're the best. Thank you for all of this happiness.
Yes.
That's our why.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could work anywhere we want. We've had other jobs and
Right.
stuff, right? That's our why.
I agree with you. Seeing the happy faces, seeing everyone dancing on the dance floor, making sure the event is successful.
It's
and
powerful.
You helped
It
produce
really
that.
is.
What were you going to say, Lily?
Well, it's
sorry.
powerful. It's just that because our hearts are in the right place, it's always that tug between the heart and head and heart. We know we're going to do the right thing by you. We have a track record, straight 5-star track record that we're going to do the right thing by you no matter what, come hell or high water. And so therefore, because of our track record, because of that guarantee, because of that 5-star review, because of our testimonials, left, right, up, down, inside out, you are going to get a guaranteed amazing event. And so therefore, we do demand that payment up front.
Right.
It is important that we have everything so that we're covered because we have been put in situations where we came, all guns a-blazing, ready to go, all systems go, this, that, whatever. Party was done, and they would find one little thing that went wrong, whether it was our fault or not. And
Right.
typically it's not. Okay?
They
It
always
was,
try and get out of paying.
and they'll find a way to not pay. And I've realized after speaking with my lawyers, and I have a lawyer, and then I have a mother effer, right? And either which one I have to call, they're ready to go to work for me
Right.
because they know where my heart is and they're defending my righteousness. Yeah.
Right.
But they would sometimes have to say, Aldo, I hate to tell you this, but for the $2,000 balance that's owed, or just eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The 25, but I was like, but that could be the profit of that night. Oh, well, then there it is. Oh, that's digging into the actual, that's what it is. Well, I decided I'm never going to let that happen again. So
Right.
What were you going to say?
No, there was. I have two things to say. Also, regarding I'm going back and forth. I have ADD like him, So
ADHD, but okay.
same thing. But also why you need the planner is I've learned that when you're hiring, you could go and look at prices and say this lighting person's cheaper, and then and I want to do like you guys have a production company, right?
Right.
So you guys come with the lighting and the sound, and it all had, a lot of people will say, I just want the MC. I'll find the cheaper rate for sound.
Yeah.
The
And that is
alignment
the biggest mistake. And I've, thank God my clients listen to me and they switch gears. It has to be one production. It has to flow.
Actually,
Okay.
you know what, just to follow up on that,
Are you
we
hearing
actually
this?
included
Okay,
in
just
our
letting you know.
contract that we have to be in control of that.
Very good.
Or at least, well, sorry, for you guys, you must be in control. We at least, because we're not event planners, we at least have to know if they're hiring someone. It's in our contract to know.
Or like be able to approve of.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because so I was going to ask you, and then I forgot, but it was basically, it's the ADHD. There we go. It's fine. All four of us have ADHD.
Welcome to ADHD.
This is going to be a fun podcast.
Probably me less than the rest of you.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
But I was like, but being control, why do they have to go under one production company? Why does the client, because if she's going to tell you, but no, I found it for cheaper.
Because the event has to run smoothly. Otherwise the event is
why will the event
not
not run smoothly if they chose
the
different?
lighting is not in sync with the sound
Okay,
system.
fine.
The sound system is not in sync with the MC. And a lot of the times you actually just, it doesn't flow. You don't feel it.
Perfect.
We
You
were
need to feel
at
the connection, right?
Oh, I know. I want to spoon feed the answer to some of my
Oh.
families because it's like they're like
They don't get
but they don't understand. So and it's again, like I said, it's not your fault if you're because I said you're uneducated and you don't understand. But it's when you hire different vendors for every little different thing. You have to understand now too. It's more hands in the pie. And stuff can get shit, as which is our favorite word here today on this podcast, can get convoluted.
Quality versus quantity. What is it? Quantity versus quality.
Quality?
You're
You said
gonna
it
have
first.
to accept
Quality
Quality versus
Aaron's going to make you sound like a champ with that one. Don't worry.
Thank you so
We got
much.
you.
All right.
Aaron, I'm going to pay you to keep that in there, okay?
You could clean up my vocabulary too. Just make me not sound like I'm from Jersey or a Jap. That'd be great.
We love Japs here. It's okay.
You know, I was debating on taking speech therapy before I came.
I actually had a client come in here yesterday. If they can figure it out, then great. Congratulations to you. And we're doing their event. It's coming up soon, in a couple months. And, mom is all gung-ho, wants to hire me. She knows exactly who I am, so on and so forth. Kids have seen me at the parties and whatnot. Father decides he's going to step in, and he wants to go ahead and hire a different production company from Staten Island. Love you guys in Staten Island, but we have a different way that we do business out in Brooklyn and New Jersey, and I'm just going to share this with you.
As a Staten Islander, I can attest to that.
Exactly. But I will tell you this. He wanted to reach out to this guy, and I was like, once he said he has a friend in Staten Island, I was like, I put those two words together. I was like, oh God, here it comes. And he gave me a number that was like a fraction of what we charge in order to professionally to manifest and produce the types of events that we're known to produce. And I told him, I was like, I'm so sorry, I cannot match that price at all. I can't come close to that price. And what you're doing is not only kind of veering off of the level of success that we guarantee our clients and what we're known for, right? There's a certain level that we're known to produce. It's why we get our 5-star reviews. It's a system that you're buying into. Well, he thought that the bottom line or the number was, I guess, more important than the overall success or the level that we could have brought him to. And I had to kind of give him a lesson. And, did I budge? I'll be honest with you. I typically don't. What I would do usually is what? I'll pull out of the whole job.
Out of the event.
I'll pull out of the whole job.
Right.
You want to go with my company, my talent, and go with a different guy for production and so on and so forth. You're not buying the system. You think you're going to get the same results that you saw? It's not going to happen. And so I'll just wrap this particular point up by saying that I had to kind of school him on the whole system. And sometimes guys are a little bit more technical. They understand cars and aviation. I start saying, it's, you're putting Ferrari tires, like you're putting
Honda tires.
Honda tires, yeah. And
Ferrari,
no offense to Honda, love Honda. Okay.
Love Honda. I drive
But,
a Honda.
putting Honda
Just kidding.
tires on
I
a
drive a
Ferrari and whatever it is. I mean, again, I just had to kind of bring him to the realization that that's not how you race a car. That's not how you kind of move to the finish line type of thing. So, it came to the point where I had to kind of tell him, listen, I have no problem with going ahead and leaving you guys be. I'll release you from the agreement. I'm not bluffing. I'll release you from the agreement, and you can go ahead and find a different entertainment company that you can piece things together and put together your whole Voltron or your all-star team.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. I need my guys, my DJ, my dance motivators, my production, my stage that's not going to crack halfway into the party while your kids are jumping and down, up and down. Of course it's happened. Thank you. It's happened. It happens all the time. TV screens that end up having blocks missing in the middle of your party.
I've witnessed it.
Bro.
People think it's apples to apples when there's a price difference. There's a price difference for a reason. It's not meant to rob, and some people might be thinking there's being slighted. Oh, because this guy's more expensive. Why is he more expensive? There's a certain system that you're investing in. You're getting what you pay for. Exactly right. But the most important thing is, and you said this, in order for me to do what you've seen before in the past, you must go with everything that I have. It's not to be all like selfish and like me. It's to help you, and families should understand that we're only doing that. We're only saying that everything has to go through us because we understand how a successful party works, but it's not just us that makes the party successful. They think, if just because I hired Aldo, my event's going to be great. Well, if Aldo's just him and he has another team doing this, another team that he's never worked with, he's going to be out of sync with them,
fighting with the DJ,
and it's going to bleed into the success of the event.
Work, I'm telling you,
correct.
I've seen it done like not multiple. I've seen it done a lot, and I understand the formula is stick with one production. I'm telling you. Good.
I'm glad that you guys understand that as event planners, because you have a peripheral, right? You guys see everything that's around. And it's important that some people like you, for instance, are able to establish or confirm, yes, you do need to go with a system. A system is what matters. You know what I mean? Piecing things together. Now we're at the mercy of their weakest link. And that's not something
how are you guys supposed to shine?
How am I supposed to gamble that on your event? Like, seriously, you know?
We've seen it with one of our MCs. We see how he works versus how he works with his production.
Right.
And
Correct.
it's like...
It's so much better.
It's one of my main important things when when I sit down with the client, I always say, stick with the production. And they're used to getting what everyone else gets. They're like, but they did, the lighting was cheaper. I'm like, one production. It has to be, what's a few extra thousand if you're spending big?
I even have no problem, and you've probably alluded to this too. I have no problem. Let's say they're like, but Pat, we just can't afford that thing budget. Like we want to buy in that system. What I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, here are a couple of people that I've worked with who do amazing work that might come a bit cheaper. Listen, you're going to be paying around the same rate though, because if you want that level of success, but maybe there's someone that I've worked with that does come in a bit cheaper due to whatever reason, that I could recommend you to.
Right.
I've done that very few times because, like I said, once you start to veer out, you run the risk of, I'm not responsible for that person's work necessarily. Right. There's also another thing that vendors are not responsible for. If you are to go elsewhere and book another production company or this or that, selfishly speaking, it looks bad on the MC or the DJ or the event planner if one thing didn't work. Right. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows that the client went out about to try to fit pieces to a puzzle. It all looks on you. It looks bad on you anyway. Yeah. So, I did a makeshift thing. Great. She doesn't look, something didn't work out. Well, I could say all I want as a vendor, as a DJ. Well, if she just listened to me, I'm like, I'm not going to guilt her with that, because at the end of the day, I look bad. Right. People are looking at me. So we are clients, families, couples, we are coming from a selfish standpoint of we don't want to look bad, but at the same time, we know and we can project that something will go wrong if you do start to buy out of the system and try to fit in basically these loose pieces to a puzzle you're trying to put together that just won't fit. So that's one thing. I was going to ask you guys, what is your ideal, do you guys, when you work with families, when you create your timelines, right? Do you have a basic run of show, something like a general plan of attack? Like we have ours. I'm curious, what is your ideal timeline, your idea format of a party from let's say, if we're doing a wedding, from ceremony on site, cocktail hour, reception, what happens, run me through your flow.
We arrive. I'm there the minute, as early as I can be with my vendors. We have a suitcase with us. We get dressed at the venue, and we're there the whole time. Events about to happen. We run and get dressed. And we always
It's kind of the timeline of like.
I know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there,
She just keeps you in check. She's your business, making sure.
And then, again, the schedule's we talk about the schedule the night before.
Okay.
Also, we have to invest in walkie-talkies.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a very good
By the way,
idea.
we'll take a recommendation of what you guys think.
So
Done. Okay.
We have to be, and also production is in on the timeline as well. The MC, the DJ, everyone is in on the timeline. Everyone is.
When you say in on the timeline, what do you mean by that?
Everyone has the timeline in front of them.
Okay, fine. All right, physically.
Yes,
and
the DJ needs to put this song on.
Yep, at this time. Right, yeah.
Down to the entrance, down to the last song of the night. That again works hand in hand with production. Like I can't just write it by myself and say this is it, deal with it. No, you work with the production and we do it together.
So do sometimes production companies or DJs or MCs or photographers, do they... I love you.
Here it comes.
Do they...
Just kidding.
Do they offer their...
Nah, they're more...
do they offer suggestions, and how do you work with that?
There are times where you're still setting up, you're down to the last minute, and then the photographer just plops and then tries to take a family picture, but like you need to move. I'm almost done, and that could just disrupt everything. And
can you give me an example? Elaborate on that.
I had a bat mitzvah, and I had 3 hours to set up because it was in the restaurant,
okay.
and we had to close the restaurant down. So I had 3 hours to take all the furniture out of the restaurant and take all my new furniture in. And down to the last 10 minutes, there was a few touches, but the family came early to take pictures. It was on the beach, and the photographer, God bless his soul, wanted a nice shot, and it was just like we were still maneuvering the bar. The outlet was broken over there, so we had to move the bar over there. There was a lot of little situations. So, the photographer...
But generally, it's not, everyone's cooperative as long as everything
always. Well, the photographer,
event that you...
Always. But, like I said, if I have to be on time to match my photographer's time.
Okay.
So
now when you're creating the timeline, prior to the event, do you send that timeline out to all vendors prior, correct?
we make it with the vendors as well.
You make, bingo, that's what I wanted to know. So you as event planners create the timeline with the vendors.
They're our team, of course we do. It's not a one-man show. It's never a one-man show.
Okay.
Jolee Events is it not, a lot of situations happen where thank God I black out and she takes over. I wake up, I'm like, oh, thank God it's done. Well, she's my partner.
So one of my things,
quietly do it.
one of my biggest sometimes gripes with not event planners as whole, but sometimes I'm working with event planners, and it seems to be like this is my territory. They'll consider it where I create the timeline.
Oh, we're doing that now?
And okay. And you follow my timeline. And I have no problem with being a team player. I actually usually I'm very okay, even if it's not the way I would create mine, to a T, I'm let me see if I can work around this, because I don't want to create waves unnecessarily.
Right.
I'm not in this business to just, flaunt my ego and say, no, this is how we're doing this.
Right.
It's just, it's not who I am. But if I ever find an issue with the timeline from my perspective, because I think DJs come with a certain perspective that maybe an event planner won't, or an event planner comes with a certain perspective and they're seeing the event holistically that the DJ won't, right? So I'm seeing it symbiotic. Do you have how do you approach that? You adjust it do you listen to you
Yes.
empower them about more to bring in their suggestions and tell you, hey, maybe we should do it this way.
We love
Sometimes,
suggestions.
yeah.
There are some things that I don't see, she doesn't see, but my production sees, and
We work together and we make
You
it
have
happen.
to. You
also,
can't
we
be
don't want to create
stubborn.
waves. Yeah.
Well, now what's running through the back of my head is that are they answering it like that because they're are they answering it because they're new? They said that they're new in this business.
No,
or do they genuinely understand that for instance, a DJ or a master ceremonies, an entertainment company is coming with an entertainment's perspective, and we know how a party does flow better with regards to the fun factor.
Right.
That's the question.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are other event planners, as you probably know, or you have heard of, or you will hear of, that will say, this is the way I want it done, and that's it, and I have a problem with that.
Well, you want
Me too.
everyone to be happy also. If you
Correct.
start pissing off your DJ and your MC, that you need everyone to be happy. You don't, like you said, you don't want to create waves unnecessarily. And you know what? You have to make everyone happy, not at a cost to the event.
But what does it tell you if you can't trust your vendors that you
Exactly.
carried on? I'm trusting your opinion.
Right.
That's why you're on my team.
We're a team. There's no I in team.
It's
No ego.
it's really simple, and there's, you know,
It's not because we're new that we would make concessions. It's because we trust who we're working with.
But what about those vendors that you did not bring on the team because the client said, I'm going to let you handle everything, but these are my DJs, or these are my entertainers, or these are my florists, and those people that are outside of your network decide that this is not the right plan because this is not how they operate.
So, you know, I recently, you know, I love to just use my vendors. I hate when they come to me and say, here, I have my floors. You know, because then I feel like I'm in someone's house. And I don't like to do that, you know. I want to be, like, my vendors know, you know, who I am. And they know I'm not a nasty person. But when I'm passionate, I sound a little nasty. But they accept me. They know who I am. They know I don't have a bad bone.
Okay.
So, you know, you want to add to that? Because I really like using.
Listen, with all that being said, we still, and we will openly admit this and say this, we have a lot to learn, and we definitely do have to try out new vendors. And
Well, that's not what they were saying.
no, I'm just saying.
Were you?
Well, it's
No.
more
Take that, we have
when
a
you
lot
are
to
putting
learn out of there.
We have to.
Good.
We have to learn. We have to have
No,
vendors that we can work with.
no. That's what they're saying is. Listen, if you trust,
break it
if
down?
you're hiring me, you trust me,
Right.
then you have to go. You have to go by me.
Right.
But your client, okay, Joe Smith.
If she don't have confidence in me, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a good event. You have to have confidence in your event planner. You know, and I've spoken to a few other people. If you don't have confidence in your event planner, you think it's not going to be as amazing as you think it's going to be because you're questioning. Let the event planner do their thing. You
But
know?
are you going to go ahead and turn away work because they want to use you to plan the entire event, bring in all the other vendors except for this one vendor who
And
has?
who's the one vendor? Depends.
DJ.
Depends. Could
MC.
be.
We're using us because
I'm just saying because we're
That's true, that's
we're
true,
an
that's
entertainment
true.
company.
That's
you know what I mean? Because this circumstance is
Yeah.
existential.
happens a lot.
It happens a
It
lot.
happens
to you
a
guys
lot.
because we come from a community where everyone wants to use the same DJ, but then we want to come to you guys, and again, this has happened. We have the DJ; they're stuck with their, and the DJ knows the Arabic songs and the Hebrew songs, so they're comfortable with their DJ, right? But how do we come to you and say, we want you for production, but we have our Israeli DJ that they like?
Right.
How do you work around that?
It's yeah. I mean, it's I think working.
We have our own, by the
Yeah.
way. So we have a plethora of DJs that work within our company that are specific to communities.
Right.
They have Israeli, they have Kafkaz music, they have Bukharian, they have Russian, they have Ukrainian.
So that's what
they
we were,
have
that's
that
what I
stuff.
was saying.
and they're at a level
Right.
that we deem qualified
Right.
to work
This
under
is
our
where,
brand. You
like,
see what I'm
it's
saying?
a
the
menu.
client
Yeah.
really has to
Kinda.
trust you. Has to trust the planner. And there are times when they don't trust you enough and they really want their DJ. And it happens a lot.
And have you seen it go bad every single time?
I've seen it choppy. And the one time that they did listen to me, my husband was at that event. And they listened to me and they went with the production DJ, even though no one ever heard of him. And they're the first ones using them. My husband said he's never seen anything like it. The production was amazing. And, and I'm happy they, took the chance.
Sometimes you get lucky. Well, and I tell the story every time about Yoni. You've instilled in me that, hey, listen, if a client's just going to hire you and their own DJ separately, you're at the mercy of how well that DJ can do because you have no control and no guaranteed projection of like how the party's gonna go because it's like someone I've never worked with before, right? So I'm like, okay. But I said I was available, and I'm like, I'll take the job anyway. I told her I don't like doing this because if the DJ's not good, there's only so much I can do, Jenny, and you're paying me a lot. Sure. You're paying a lot already, and what am I going to do? Flare my hands out if a song that the kids hate is playing? And I'm like, guys, you got to dance. I can't force people to dance. And I need some fuel to the fire. I need some coal. And that's what the DJ is going to provide. She's like, okay, whatever. But I said, you know what? I said, roll the dice. Roll the dice. I'm available anywhere. I'm not going to be working. Might as well. It could be a learning experience. Yes. Or I can. And I actually met somebody who now works with us. He was incredible. He was incredible. The music, the timing, the mixing, the flow, the ability to read a crowd. Yep. On fire. I said, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And
I'll take his number too, by the way.
What'd you say?
I said, we'll take his number too.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I will.
It's 1-800-321-PARTY.
And I told Aldo, I called him, I said, okay, Aldo, I just met this incredible DJ, and I usually don't like to do this. Right. It did change my perspective on being so stubborn on. Yeah. I think we cannot be stubborn on only unless we're like. And listen, here's the thing too. Here's the thing. Like I think there's a difference of how established you are in this industry. Like for instance, you compared to me. I think you as someone who's been doing this for how many years in total?
25.
I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to.
That's all right.
So
25.
25. And I'm 20. And I'm 26. What'd you say?
I love it.
And I'm 20. There you go. And I'm 26. So it's crazy. So what I'm trying to say though is like, okay, you have the establishment, the time in your career where you're like, no, I don't have to waste my time on. But me, I'm like, no, I want as many people to see me as much as possible. Right. And that's the difference with vendors like entering the industry in the beginning, and not like you can't be that person that's like super picky, because who are you? Like I had to check myself and humble myself and said, who am I to say no to that?
Let me check myself.
Because I think because you know why we have egos. I think we're in this business for a reason. I think we and that's almost like a prerequisite for being in this. I've never met someone in this industry who did not have an ego.
So we all have egos. That's why we're
not. So she was very against working with a specific DJ, and we went to an event and they were the DJ, and I said, I fucking love them. They're awesome. They're great. I'm like, I don't care what you say. We're making a meeting with them. And I don't care, because one MC or whoever doesn't want to work with them. And I was like, too bad. Everyone's going to have to play nicely in the sandbox because I like the way this DJ works.
Yes, Val.
And I said, okay, boss.
Okay, boss. But sometimes
Let me tell you something. We're planning someone's 40th birthday. It's going to be in September. The girl messaged me the other day and said, I want this DJ because she just saw this DJ at an engagement party the other day.
And I said, okay, boss.
Well, here's what we can do, because it's not like you could just go. I think I did go into it blindly, hoping for the best, right? But I think there are some things you can do before an event. And this is what event planners and DJs can do, or clients. You can ask your vendors to do this on your behalf, event planners and DJs, is, hey, to interview the vendor beforehand and make sure verbally you have a verbal agreement that they're up to par with the way you like to run things, and you're up to par with the way they like to run things.
That's the beauty of Zoom, right?
There you go. So
you met with a lot of people. We both met
before you worked with them, right?
We worked with them. I said, we don't have jobs for you yet, but we'd like to know you. And
my job right now is helping her
acquisition.
Yeah, starting this business is I am reaching out to every venue, every vendor. I want to meet every vendor. I want to see every vendor. I want to know about every vendor. Every event we go to, even to the DJ, to what I go and introduce myself. Because who knows? Eventually, you may work with them.
Yeah.
Some people are so stiff.
Well, how did we never even got to talk about how we met these people. It was at a networking event. Yes, and you guys came up to us and you
We
said,
were with someone that you knew, and
"Oh, it was
I like the way he said it.
yeah, cut that part out,
Cut her out.
Aaron, cut that part out.
Cut her out.
Wait,
We came
you
up to
came
them.
to because it did feel though that you were talking to. It did feel
Well, I
like
knew who he was.
right.
I know who.
Yes.
I knew who. So I do my research
she
in the
watches
industry.
your podcast. She was watching.
I
yes.
did my
Right.
research. I don't just come into things blind.
Fans of the podcast, hey.
Woo!
I knew you. I listened to him, and I'm like, Theo introduced me to him, and like I make sure to know everyone before, and I play. Oh, I don't know you, but I knew
Yeah.
you.
Oh, that's
I
so.
know your mother's name too.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
You know, I really gain a lot of knowledge. I
You
don't
need
just
to.
decide to open Jolee.
Yeah.
I learn, I gain knowledge,
Yeah.
and then I opened it. And then we're learning. We're going to panels. We're finding like the secrets to success over here. And we don't just do things on the whim.
Good for
Let's
you.
talk about conferences actually, or networking, like all these, like the Event Planner Expo, like certain instances like that. Do you think they're rewarding or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
Oh, we met you guys there.
Perfect,
But
exactly.
I've met a few other vendors. But there are other things that you could do too. Like we are members at RSVP Club, and that was really, really, they're doing, you guys should come. They're no, seriously.
Send me an invite. I'm there.
going to send you, become a member. They're doing like a whole, they have membership only
Events.
and you go to, they're doing one in Mykonos, like a 3-day event. They're doing one, and
She just wants it for the vacations.
So do I.
no, well, it's funny because one of the biggest event planner, and she brought a lot. She found, like, starting up, this is years ago, she found all these vendors that everyone started using. But how did she find them? She went to all these summits across the country. And that's how, and, you're meeting all these people and all these connections and all these different talents. And you kind of have to up your game, and you have to find newer and newer things.
Do you find that there's almost immediate income or opportunity by going to these networking events?
Yes.
You really do?
You're learning.
I don't think there's immediate.
No, yeah.
No, you
Not
don't get
immediate.
immediate. No, we don't get anything.
Absolutely not.
We
This
get-
is a very slow process.
We
and you
gain
have to be
knowledge.
patient.
It's the knowledge that we gain. It's the people that we meet. We RSVP Club. Just the other day at a panel, Beckham, who was their wedding planner? Beckham. They got married to the billionaire.
No. Oh.
I know you mean Beckham. Beckham, bend over Beckham.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You said bend
Hey,
over the
Freudian
Bend
slip
it
over
like
here.
Beckham?
No,
That
so
one?
there was
Yeah.
it was
Sorry, let's get that out really quick.
Bend over Beckham. You know the movie Bend Over
Yeah, we
Beckham?
did
No,
it-
I know the porno Bend Over Beckham.
there's a porno bend for Beckham.
No, just using what he said.
It's not one of my favorite sites, just so you know.
Bend over. Okay, anyway.
Where's your water?
Huh?
No, her water. I was gonna drink
Want
it.
water?
No, I was gonna drink her water.
Oh.
You know what's mine is yours.
You got water.
No, we do, but in the back.
No, so you have her speaking on a panel. She'll tell, and she was in the news that they like fired her like 5 days before the wedding, and she'll tell you what was in the contract, why she didn't lose anything, and all this knowledge is good to learn, and you wouldn't be it's
Other than us,
lost my thought.
other than us, right? Have you maintained any other relationships, strong relationships where there's maybe business in the works, or there's some kind of a networking, there's some kind of a collaboration in the works from these
You met
networking
Swag.
events?
You met a lot of vendors.
What was he's gonna kill me if I don't remember his name. Oh no, it's Josh, but I don't know if who's gonna kill me.
That's okay.
Josh.
We'll edit this part out, too.
Swag. You cut this part out. Let me go look at his thing.
Well,
Well, I'm doing
what I
it
would
because if I announce it,
Yeah,
he gives me
exactly.
less. He'll do good for me and my clients, and that's how you make a connection, and that's how you network.
What do you look for in a vendor? Because like I can imagine event planners have people coming up to them all the time. Oh my God, I do this. Lewis probably gets that.
Oh my God, I did that to him last week.
Right,
Are you serious?
Actually, he invited us
approached
to
me.
come and meet with him.
That's too funny. He's only 15 minutes away.
Right here, let's drive over.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
so what do you look for when you have a vendor coming up to you like, oh, I'd love to work together? Because I'll tell you right now, there's this, and she's an event planner. She's going to be on the podcast next week or whatever. Her name's
Who?
Christine, Cbc Events in like Wyckoff, I think Wyckoff,
Yeah,
right? That's how you
yeah.
pronounce it?
Yeah.
New Jersey, in that area.
Exactly.
Paramus. And she told me, she's like, Patrick, I knew I wanted to put you on an event after I saw what you were able to do at my, she holds like a weekend conference at a resort, whatever, just for self-improvement, self-help, whole like
her already.
yeah, like she's great. And I'll put you guys in touch too. But she said, when I saw how you did I did a photo booth for her. I brought the photo booth free of charge, pro bono. I just brought it out, set up an event, and I was just the attendant for the day.
Right.
And she didn't really see me. And I said, but what made you take a chance on me as the MC of a client that spent a pretty penny on her event? You took a risk on me. And she said, well, if I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, I would not have taken the risk on you. But after being in this industry so long, I'm able to just look at someone and go, okay, yeah, that's whatever. What do you guys do?
I feel the same way about you. Both of you, actually.
Where you
I would
just
take a chance on both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
You know what?
appreciate that.
Click. It's a click.
Yeah.
If you don't click with someone immediately.
That makes sense.
Yeah, listen to your instincts
The
also.
third eye.
I call it the third eye, yes.
So it's instinctual for you. You feel where we're able to just.
What'd you do when we came over to you? When
Well, your energy.
Your energy. I saw hunger. Yeah. I saw ready to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they are gonna do good stuff. You know when you just say you're like they're gonna do good stuff soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get them on the podcast now because they're gonna be too busy to come on the podcast in a couple of years. Like that's how I felt about you guys. So I'm like, but yeah, I guess it is something we just.
It's instinctual.
No, we're people. As
That's
we call
true.
it.
That's true.
well, I saw your energy from when I was, doing my research on you guys before I even thought I was going to meet you.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew about you guys. I knew
dope.
about the work, and I was a little starstruck when I saw him. I was like, Theo, get me. Like I was
That's
really.
so
I'm
cool.
telling you.
Oh my God, I'm blushing. And
I love
I'm
that.
serious.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's.
I do my research. I do my heavy research, and I have the best mentors in the community. Giving me the best advice, and and I learn from my mistakes. And I have my partner here who's, will shut me down a few times, but we're learning.
Yeah.
I have a question, separate now, and I asked a venue coordinator this question on the podcast, and I'm going to ask this almost to every other vendor because it's just interesting. Now, what is some trend? There you go, perfect. Especially as event planners, you got to be the latest on trends. You can give me a mitzvah trend, you can give me a wedding trend, you can give me both. What's something that you guys have really been hearing a lot? Like, wow, we really got to start doing this, or we need to know someone who does this because they're just going to go elsewhere. Do you guys have an idea of that off the top of your head? What something like that is?
Well, I think I discussed it with you last time we spoke. Was the bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah games. It has to be new, new tech or whatever you want to say.
Right.
It has to be advanced.
Not just an air hockey table anymore.
Yeah, and I've spoke to Lois about this. Everything needs to be more advanced. You have to come up with it's a competitive game. Norma Cohen just did a wedding. And what she did with the lights or something was something I never seen before. That's her keeping up with the game, being inventive, and you just have to be inventive. And you were telling me that you came up with this, that you have this thing with the picture with bar mitzvah. It's like it's
the AI, right? The AI.
Oh,
you
the
have
AI,
to start the
Yeah.
trend.
This too.
It's not. Yes, so it's not like
It's not that
what
you're-
is in trend. It's you're starting the
Trend setting. It's
trend.
important.
The
I
trend
think.
right now is fake flowers. That is my worst thing. I'm not keeping up with that trend. Oh yes, look it up.
Is it like a budget friendly trend, or is it
they
like?
cost the
No, but
same.
they
heard
look
they
real.
cost the same.
They look
Same.
real.
I've heard they cost
So-
the same.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is it considered like, oh, they got fake flowers,
No,
or it's like,
it's
no,
not.
I
It's
got
like
fake
a-
flowers.
Just
Yeah.
fake flowers, though. It's a mix.
Okay, and what's the why behind that? Why am I doing that? What's your
They
why?
look good. They look real.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they look so. I mean,
it's like lab grown diamond.
Exactly.
But lab grown diamond's cheaper though.
Of course.
That's what I'm doing.
But-
That's what I'm doing, Aaron.
it's so worth it, Aaron. My sister-in-law just got
right.
like a 5-6
You're all
carat.
Lab grown.
Lab grown, baby.
Gorgeous.
Who knows? Yeah, who's gonna know? There we go. But okay, so
And by the way, it is very important, to give her the nice jewelry because they
Yeah.
let me know
yeah.
it's an eye fuck. Yeah. No, it is. They're like, her fiance must be making a lot of money. Their business is really goes back to the
true.
bring your best bag.
Yeah.
I do look at your rings. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
That's true.
Buy the Hermes bag on the Business card.
That's right. It's a write-off.
Cut her off.
So okay, got it. So it's not more of like, oh, what are some trends you're seeing? It's like you have to be starting those. I think one big thing that families can do if they're interested in like, spicing up their event or enhancing it or making it literally different from everyone else's, I think is incorporating AI. Yeah. That's the next step that we're not doing a lot. I think because like no one wants to be the first one to do it. Like,
how do you do that?
How do you incorporate AI?
Yeah.
Have you seen those celebrities kind of like dancing and just moving and doing all these crazy? They've been using a lot of political figures to do all these things that it's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen. Oh my God, that's AI. So they've got it down to such amazing science that it's impressed me, and I find myself just scrolling through, just doom scrolling all the way through all these AI animations and special effects. And I was like, how can we incorporate that into our bar and bat mitzvahs? Well, we do these invitations, and a lot of these invitations are going from paper to digital,
right,
as you see. And instead of just sending one of those animated cards, you're invited to the bat mitzvah.
Yeah, they do the trailer.
It's the girl actually out there with her hobbies, her interests, her theme, her color scheme, and she's out there busting moves, doing backflips, windmills, head spins,
they're going skiing,
jumping on a Harley and flying into a different area, like an enchanted garden, and it's like boom, fireworks.
Ilana's bat mitzvah.
Ilana's bat mitzvah.
Yeah, right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? It's like, oh snap, how can I miss this? So that also for the grand entrance. You
have to be inventive.
Bringing out the parents, bringing out the siblings. Everybody focuses their attention to the huge video wall, and it's this
promo.
Awesome, promo. It's an AI animated thing where she's busting through doors after a whole series of things took place, and then it's like her kind of coming through the doors or the video wall opening up, and she's walking through it now, and it's like, holy cow, and she's wearing the same dress and so on and so forth. It's out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Junkbox AI. These are the guys that we're working with, Mike and Ryan. And take a look at them, Junkbox AI on Instagram. It's just absolutely sick. We would share some stuff, but just for the sake of time, you'll like what you see.
Sure.
What is,
we
have our answer. What is the craziest entrance you've seen, whether it's for a couple, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, any like crazy entrance you've produced? Do you guys have an idea of that off the top of your head?
Sometimes simple is better. And that's when you could really, like, it tugs on your heartstrings. Like, for the bat mitzvah I did, the client's daughter was on the MC's shoulder and the White Lotus openings. My theme was kind of White Lotus, but koshered it for kids.
Right.
But the opening
age-appropriate
soundtrack and the MC, like the DJ twisted it to a little bit of a remix. So all of a sudden she comes in with this opening song and and it was my cousin's bat mitzvah, and me and my aunt looked at each other like we were about to cry. Like we see my beautiful little cousin and I did that.
Wow.
Like it was a proud moment.
Because I think we get this a lot. Like sometimes a family will come up to, they're like, "Oh, we really gotta I want to make this like entrance different. I want to make this like different. I want to do like this like crazy." And it's like, is reinventing the wheel or trying to show up differently always a good thing? Do you think?
As long as they want to pay for it.
As long as they want to pay for it.
A lot of the times they're like, nah, it's not worth
I'll say, oh, I want to one woman, she came up to me, she's like, Patrick, I'm just nervous like the kids won't dance, and she just had a one person DJ. I said, one of those things you could do is invest in a dance motivator, and she's no. Well, I said, well then you're at the mercy of whatever the kids want to do because you don't have someone out there. But one of the things I found, sometimes I'll tell families, like especially if they want to spice up their introduction or spice up their mother-son dance or father-daughter dance or, spice up anything, sometimes I'll tell them to refrain from that because it's instituted for a reason. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with just having a basic, simple dance with your mom, because if you try to go too far outside of what it's created for, you're missing the point of it.
Yeah.
So,
less is more.
the reason for a mother-son dance or father-daughter dance is why this person in your life has dedicated hours and hours and hours into your life, right? They've sacrificed their own, overall, just generally almost personal ambitions, because they have to, restructure or redirect their lives into you. And that's the ultimate sacrifice. That is amazing. And what you're doing for your mom or your dad when you do dedicate it, is you're showing a sign of appreciation,
right?
A sign of respect. Like, Mom, thank you for everything you've done for me in my life, because I would not be here if it weren't for you.
Right.
So when you try not to do a dance, you try to do something crazy like a carnival, a circus act, or whatever, you lose the reason why we're doing this. And I feel families do that a lot, and it's not their fault, because I just don't feel that the message is getting across. And that's sometimes partly due to the MC's fault. If you may have a bad MC that doesn't clearly explain or convey the reason why this formality is happening, that's what creates people wanting to do these crazy, outrageous, transformations to their party.
Reason. They just want their name on something, and that's where the selfishness comes, right? They want to be that, oh, look what I did, look what I did.
Look what I did.
And then you don't understand, like, you missed the whole point of it.
Correct.
Get the family together, like, Instagram.
So the answer is don't reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel, no, in a tasteful way.
I think like within the confines, like, okay, here's a perfect example. I did this, and I loved her, because I loved her ambition with it. Shout out to Marina Schwartzman. She was telling me, Patrick, I don't want to do the mother-son dance. Like, I see it every time. Like, I get it. And she's also seen us doing personalized recordings, which is where, the kid will deliver a message on a microphone in our studio to his mom, or the daughter to her father, and it's just a very heartfelt, sentimental, personal message that you want to give to your parent for everything that they've done for you. It makes people cry. It brings people to tears. It's awesome. Right. People tell us they've never seen anything like it. But she says, I've already seen that. She's like, I want to do something even more different. I'm like, geez, all right, Marina, you're really giving me a run for my money. So she said, listen, me and my son and I are not this sentimental, gushy type of, like, partnership dynamic, I should say, not partnership. This isn't a business relationship. It's a partnership right here. But she's saying we want to have some fun. And immediately I thought of, well, one, ChatGPT, which if you really cannot think of any other creative ideas, ChatGPT using AI to help you foster some new inventive ideas. It helps with emails. Do not shy away from AI with whatever you're doing, please. But one thing she said, and I looked this up, I said, what about a lip sync battle? You ever see Jimmy Fallon?
Love it.
What's Jimmy Fallon? There's another guy. Jimmy Kimmel. There we go. They're all Jimmys. It's that lip sync battle you see on the night shows. Let's do that. You guys are fun. You guys are performers. Have fun with it. And guess what? They were bonding together still, because there was one song where they were lip syncing together. And I made sure I got that message across before they did the lip sync battle, because I want people to understand why this is happening, why I'm stopping. So I said, basically I told them, I said, guys, you've seen everything that we've done before, because this family, they've seen us a lot at parties.
They have a circle.
They're like, there's a circle that just knows us,
and they just book based on our availability.
Right. So they were like, all right, we've seen it all, and I wasn't gonna go, hey guys, you may have not heard this before, when they did a personalized recording, because they're like, no, Pat, we would have heard that before. So I said, guys, you've seen everything we've done before. You're gonna literally see something we've never done before, okay? And this was meant for Marina and her son to bond, to show the appreciation for each other, and to have some fun, because that's what you have to do in life. Have fun together. You gotta remember that. And I said this in the message, and that signaled to people, okay, what's about to happen is truly important and symbolic of what their relationship is. And it was a success. But I don't think that if you did not have, that's why it's very important to have a very, very successful and efficient, but also an MC that generally understands their job. It's the importance of an MC to clearly convey and direct, inform, and guide people of what's happening and why it's happening. Yeah. I think that's why people are throwing away formalities. I tell people all the time, do not throw away that formality. There's a reason for it. It's important to do. Pat, we just want to dance. At this point, go to a club if you just want to dance at your wedding. But if you want to make memories and bring sentiment in there, keeping those formalities is important. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And if you disagree, like, perfect. I love that, like, open dialogue, but, like, curious what your take is on that.
I can actually answer for them because I know their community. They do not do formalities.
Wow.
It is more go from start to finish.
Well, you guys do go, though. So here's the thing, though.
I'll be honest with you. I got married. I'm divorced now, but I got married in 2006. In 2006, we were supposed to have a father, daughter, mother, son dance, and the DJ came up to. I had a band and I had a DJ, and he came up to me and he goes, "Don't kill the flow. Skip the father-daughter, mother-son dance."
And you said,
and we did.
"Holy itchy."
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you regret not doing a father-daughter dance?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
No wrong answer.
No, I know there's no wrong answer.
Don't mind this
There's
other. Go ahead.
There's no wrong answer. I know. In our community, it's the type of thing where if
Specify
you
the
stop-
community. Specify the community.
Sephardic, Persian, Syrian.
Done.
If you slow things down, that's when people leave.
Interesting.
Don't stop the party.
You know.
Yeah.
She
go.
said, Lily said, like, so better not
don't.
forget.
It depends on
Interesting.
what type of community you're catering to, and
Great point.
You have to do what that is something you have to do what your client wants to do.
True.
That's a client.
That's when your
preference.
client's
Yeah.
input is extremely essential.
Okay, so I got to ask a sensitive question.
Go for it.
Dad's alive and well?
Yes.
Hindsight, are you going to regret that you didn't share that dance with Dad?
I love my father. He knows I love him. We have a great relationship, probably a better relationship today than we did the night of my wedding.
Beautiful.
There you go.
And no, I don't regret it because maybe I'll get married again and maybe I will.
Nice.
I know a good DJ, just letting you know, okay?
That's right.
The last question is,
that was
what,
amazing.
what about Dad, however? Like, what do you think? Did
He
did
doesn't give a shit.
Okay.
I love this.
All right. This is great.
Perfect.
I'm honest as
Wait,
yeah.
but that goes into like the regional standards or even just cultural standards. I
Cultural
think in
standards,
But I
certain
think my mother would have been upset if she didn't have a mother-son.
with her
Well,
son.
that's always the case.
He's
with
the golden
Yeah.
boy. You know, Sephardic families, the boy's always the golden boy. But
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic. That's like
Not
another
a
therapy
golden
session.
boy.
My
I love
mother
that song.
and my brother, she don't even know who I am.
Oh, snap.
Interesting. She's like, "Who are you? I'm your
Which
daughter."
is her son. It's her only son. She has 3 girls. It's
Yeah.
her golden boy.
That's so interesting because in my culture, in the Italian culture specifically, it's disrespectful if I don't dance with my mom on my wedding. It's like, why is he not dancing with his mom on his
Right.
wedding? So it's so interesting coming from your perspective, which is you're killing the party. What's wrong with you? And we're like,
We're a little selfish.
you didn't dance with you. Well, so and
tell
this
you
is
an
in this is
interesting,
in like in your there's a word in Hebrew. It's how you guys like to celebrate your life. It's like you guys party hard. That's the difference. There's a certain energy that's in your community that there was a Jewish word, or the Hebrew word. I forget.
Chaim?
No.
Simcha?
I don't know, and I
Sim-
won't know the word even if you say it.
Oh.
Probably, right? But it's like that word. What's his name? Roy Barron told me the word, and I have to text him now and get the word. He says that's our why in partying. We go off because the more energy we show, it's more like gratitude for the life we have.
Agreed.
It's this. There's a deeper like root into celebrating where I feel like that's not really there in where my family comes from, where we are, where we're just more like, oh, we're gonna dance. I want to dance. I want to hear great music, but it's not like I don't have to dance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have to like show. And I feel like it's definitely a cultural difference.
And I got to tell you something. It's why I gravitate, to the Jewish events.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout it out. You know what I'm saying? Like other than the fact, I felt like I've been adopted by the Jewish community, like the Sephardic.
I thought you were Jewish.
So
You do.
The truth is, my father's side, he has Jewish. So we're mixed. We're all over the place. Whatever. I've got my star.
Oh,
Ukraine.
look at that.
Yeah, yep. Shout out.
Love it.
I'm Israel Chai. So it's like, but I love a lot of the teaching. I love, I worked in a yeshiva, Magen David Yeshiva, and when you walked in, it was a big marquee across the entire thing that said, teach each kid in his own way. And I took that and I extrapolated it, or I extracted it, and I put it into the events. Party with each person and each child in their own way. In other words, party to their level, to what their wants, their needs, what makes them happy. And one thing that I've learned is that no matter what, especially at all these Jewish events, these mitzvahs, these weddings, they really go hard. They
do.
really learn. They know what it is to celebrate life. And that is something that we feed off of and allows us to do our best work. So, shout out to our fellow Jews. We love you.
Nice, David.
Keep partying, keep celebrating. We're here for you. They're here for you as well. Let's just make parties bigger, better. And, that's all I'm going to say. I can go on and on about that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
But to your point, I actually think it is nice to say a few words, but maybe if you do it in the right way. Like even while everyone's dancing, like you keep the music going in the background a little bit, but you say a couple words, keep it short and sweet, to the point, get everyone.
Cause it's like we're here to. I'm like, I get it. If anyone's here to dance, it's me. Like I want to make sure. But at the same time, I have to
feel the moment.
I always tell families that, like, when you watch a movie, right? You watch a thriller, there's still some sentiment in there, right? You still have to create some characters. You have to have people understand the main characters and their story and things like that. So that's what I define as a perfect celebration. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do to fight culture. And if the culture says, well, no, this is how we celebrate life in this way, why am I going to fight that? Because they're going to be like, what the heck is this? You know?
I say to my client, like, I'm gonna like pinch you, like it's happening now. Enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
You know, when I got married, my husband is an Ashkenaz Jew. I'm a Syrian Jew, so he had like 10 people to invite to our wedding, and I had like 600.
Oh, that's how it works.
And he's like,
they roll deep.
Yeah.
Deep. We had like
Syrian
750.
That's why.
That's insane.
Yo,
I love that.
Where was I?
Why wasn't I invited?
8 years ago.
I wasn't even there.
I wasn't
still
even
in school.
You guys
Me?
will all be at my second one.
I'm older than you. True story.
You better not put this on the podcast.
Edit that out.
I'm 37. So I got married actually very late in my community. 27 was the late.
Huh?
I think we're the same age. We discussed this. 42? Yeah?
47.
47.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
You know, our
47.
people get married right out of high school. So me getting married at 27.
27. 27's old in your community.
Very. Like I was still.
I was doing weddings in the Syrian community at Shara Zion. Sharet Zion.
Yeah, they were still in they're probably still
20
in school.
years old, 18,
Yeah,
19.
we were 16 and like.
I'm like, what?
On the weekends, like our friend from class just got engaged, and she was
still
in
in school.
class.
Yes,
Yeah.
they didn't even graduate
Yes.
yet.
And I was learning how to walk. I love it. It's so fun.
You
It's
know,
like,
and then-
but I will be that one point when
you
someone
will.
says, "Yeah, I was learning how to walk," and I'll be like, "Oh no." Guys, this was amazing. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules, driving all. Where did you come from?
New York
New
City.
York.
Manhattan.
Yeah, down here in Morganville, New Jersey. So that was a
With
long
all the
drive.
congestion
New York
pricing.
or nowhere.
Yeah.
The congestion pricing, you
That's
had to
my
pay the extra
husband's
$9.
problem.
We're going to give you the extra $9.
That's right. We'll send you, the 18 because I got to go back. We'll send you guys 18, not a problem. But no, we want to thank you for offering your insight. And I think it's very nice because, you know, you guys were, I think, the first event planners that we've had on this podcast so far, I believe.
Yes.
Really?
So
Yes.
it's
We're honored.
Well,
We
I
had,
approached him with this idea. I've always had it the minute I saw them talk.
it's
And this is
very
before we-
it's very important though because you said, oh, you know, we're getting our feet, we're new in the game. I don't think that's the value that you're able to offer people who are looking to enter this industry is invaluable because you're offering insight from and you're still in that beginning phase. And I think you can inspire, you know, people who want to make that leap out of their 9-to-5 jobs. They're stuck in a cubicle and they're like, oh, I hate this. I would really love to do parties, but it's really not that like feasible because, you know, it's just a dream. And you guys are living, breathing examples of it. So applause to you.
Thank you. So
for
I
that.
just want to give one piece of advice is that
That's exactly
you have to have thick skin if you want to be in this game, and you have to love what you do. You have to be a people person. You have to have, and the most important part is you have to have fun while you're doing it.
Agreed.
You have to.
Also,
You know, when we go to parties, I got to feel the party.
Oh, we always.
You got to be on the dance floor.
We get our makeup, hair. We make sure.
I got to
she's,
feel
you
the
know,
beat.
You're all decked out like this when you go to parties?
Oh,
when
even
Decked out like this.
Even
Yeah,
crazy.
well,
You wouldn't
yeah,
recognize.
I-
We have our makeup,
I like
we have
it.
our hair. Because you have to really stand out.
Okay, I want to say something because not everybody comes dressed nicely like yous. I'm just letting you know. It's a fact.
Think about it, right?
I thought about it.
if you're hiring an event planner, do you want the one that, you know, has the heels and the makeup and, or do you want the one that's in the sweatpants, you know?
Not for
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, and like
You got to present yourself the way
and the
you
flip
wanna
flops
present
and
your
like the torn jeans. I'm like, no, stand by. Did you look around? Did you take a moment to just like look around and see the flowers, the floral arrangements, the decor, the entertainment, the production, the ambiance, the vibe, the venue?
Yeah.
Well, you better believe if the wedding is black tie, we will be dressed in black tie.
You need to
Gowns.
look. just saying, okay, no judging. You need to look like this, okay?
Yep.
This is how event planners and anyone that's performing, this is how you need to dress and how you need to look, in my opinion. Hair done, nails done, everything did. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on out here. We look forward to working with you guys in the future, and maybe even having you back on for other for some more
Part
stuff,
2.
Yep, exactly.
Love it. See you at my next wedding.
Ciao.
That's right. Ciao.
I better get an invite.
You're invited. You know, our wedding's real deep.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so fun.
Awesome.
That was fun.
so
That
much
was fun.
You guys are great.